Welcome back to the Morning Brew. We hope you'll have another cup with us today. And stick around for a really terrific show here for Thursday morning. We're live in Albuquerque today with our beautiful shot of downtown, high above Lindy's Cafe, and there's the Chemo Theater. It's a beautiful day here in the Duke City. Let's welcome our guest, along with my co-host Aaron Muffaletto. Please welcome to our set today, Marita Noon, who is an executive director of Energy Makes America Great.
You got it.
Welcome.
That's correct. Thank you. It's a treat to be with you.
Great to be with you today.
And it's a treat to meet you finally.
Yeah.
We've been Facebook friends for a long time, and it's nice to meet you in person.
I've been following you for a long time, so it's great to finally meet you this morning.
Thanks.
So.
Thank you.
And I know this is a big topic right now. Everyone's wondering, why are energy costs going up? Why is my gas prices going up? What is the reason behind it all? What's the big picture?
Well, in part it has to do with the policies coming out of Washington, D.C. And the policies coming out of D.C. are really anti-energy. They're in opposition to more drilling, which would lower our gasoline prices. And the future doesn't look bright for the energy industry based on Washington policies, not based on what's actually in the ground, not based on what's available to us, but based on what they see. You know, generally, energy prices go on basic supply and demand. When you have more of it, the price goes down. When you have less of it, the price goes up. And it's not just energy. That's how the economy works. And looking towards the future, we see in general less supply available based on government policy.
Well, okay, clear something up. There's confusion because the administration's claiming that production is up.
Yes.
But this is on non-federal land.
Exactly, exactly.
This is on private land and anywhere else that they can drill in this country, right?
Correct.
Federal lands are, well, it's just hard to get a permit.
But let me clarify one thing, and that is you can't just drill for oil anywhere,
right,
or natural gas. It has to be, you have to drill where it is. You have to drill where the resource is found, and it's not just anywhere. If you were to listen to President Obama, he's made a comment in the past, for example, we're not going to drill on the National Mall. And when I hear him saying that, for example, I'm like, you couldn't drill there. There's not resource there.
There's no oil down there.
You couldn't do it if you wanted to, because you have to go where the resource is.
But why aren't we drilling more in the country?
Well, as we said, as Larry was alluding to before I kind of interrupted you with that comment, is that we have trouble getting permits. For example, in Texas, you can get a permit to drill in a matter of days. Where on federal lands, if you can get a permit at all, it takes like a year for you to get that permit. And if you call and say, what's happening with my permit, and try to expedite it, you're apt to get put on the bottom of the pile and start over again. So there's not an attitude of an awareness of the value of the resource, not just to gas prices, which is what the average consumer thinks about, but there's not an awareness of the value to the federal budget, to the economy, to all the money that brings in. And you know, the perfect example of that is North Dakota.
Yes.
I had breakfast with a friend recently, and this friend said to me, well, why do you think energy is the solution to the economy? And I said, 2 words, North Dakota. You know, and New Mexico has the potential to be the next North Dakota.
We do in the way of natural gas and oil as well?
And oil as well, yes. In the northwestern New Mexico, in the Farmington, the Four Corners area, we have the Mancos Shale, which has a lot of oil. They're doing some exploratory drilling now, and the companies that are doing that are not really revealing their total numbers because that's kind of proprietary.
Right.
But it's looking very positive. However, we have a real problem in New Mexico in that 50%, or 48%, I believe, it is almost 50%, of the land in New Mexico is federally owned. And so in North Dakota, it's almost all private. So North Dakota has been able to see this boom, as has Pennsylvania.
And this boom doesn't get covered in the media. What's going on up there?
Well, as I said, they're still doing exploratory things.
Right.
However,
but the jobs are incredible.
We have a flip. You're talking North Dakota.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was answering Farmington.
Why don't you, give us an idea of what's going on up there.
In North Dakota, they are doing a lot of drilling. They have the Bakken field, it's called, and it's a very high quality oil, easy to refine. And they're drilling all over the place. I know people that live here in New Mexico that go to North Dakota, work there for 2 weeks, come back to New Mexico for 2 weeks, go back to North Dakota for 2 weeks, come back to New Mexico. And because the jobs there, basically, if you kind of need an RV these days, because there's no housing available. Because there are so many people coming there. I understand that Walmart is paying people $17 an hour to start. Now, here in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, we're having a battle on a minimum wage thing right now. If we had a booming economy, this would be a non-issue, because to get employees, employers would have to pay top dollar, and that's what's happening in North Dakota. People are making six-figure incomes that have been unemployed, but again, you kind of need your own. You need an RV because there's no housing, and of course, who wants to live in North Dakota? It's a little chilly.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Farmington. What's happening in Farmington?
Well, Farmington has kind of got a mixed thing going on. Farmington is historically known for natural gas. And natural gas prices in this country are at a decade-long low. They're very low prices. In fact, in Farmington a couple weeks ago, ConocoPhillips, one of the major employers in that area, stopped their drilling on 2 wells that they were drilling. They were starting because the price of natural gas is so low that it costs them more to get it out of the ground than they can sell it for. Now, when ConocoPhillips stops activity on 3 wells, that's bad for jobs. That's bad for the contractors that own the equipment and so forth. That's bad. On the flip side, we have the Mancus Shale play, is what they call it, and that's oil. And if that comes through as it looks like it's going to, it could turn that around. Now, there's something else that could really turn that around, and that is LNG. LNG stands for liquefied natural gas. And in America, we have so much natural gas because of all these the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, which is a natural gas, and we have a lot of it here in New Mexico as well, that the price has dropped. But worldwide, there's a big demand for natural gas, particularly countries such as Japan and even North Korea need natural gas. We have a lot of it here in New Mexico. We can easily pipe the natural gas to the West Coast. Then it gets converted in a special terminal that costs billions of dollars to build, and then it can get on a tanker,
and
ship,
off it goes.
Off it goes.
So New Mexico currently isn't taking advantage of that, though.
Well, it's not just New Mexico, it's America. Currently, I believe it is at the DOE, we have 16 permits for LNG terminals to be built. And those are just sitting on someone's desk, waiting to be approved.
What's the opposition to that?
Well, it's a really odd collaboration. Chemical companies such as Dow and the environmentalists have paired up, have joined together.
There's an unlikely alliance.
It is, it's a strange bedfellows.
Yes.
And they have paired up to try to block LNG exports. Now, the environmentalists want to block LNG exports because if we had that, we would see an increase in drilling in this country, such as those 3 wells that I mentioned in Farmington that ConocoPhillips just stopped progress on. Those would come back online, and many others would come online because there would be a market for what we have in excess in this country. Currently, natural gas is priced on a national market where oil is priced on a global market. So there is some fear. The chemical companies are opposed to it because it will increase the price of natural gas, I believe, marginally, because we have so much resource available. I like to think of like these 3 wells in Farmington I mentioned. I kind of like to think of them as our strategic petroleum reserve. We know they're there. We know the resource is there. And when we need it, we can tap into it.
The biggest kept secret is that this country could be energy independent probably by about 2020. And the Saudis are very worried that we may actually figure that out.
Yes, well, it's interesting. I don't know if you want to go there, but I wrote a column. I write a weekly column that's published every Sunday morning in townhall.com and then is in a variety of other websites and papers throughout the next week. And I wrote a column in November talking about that OPEC announced that they were going to increase their flow rate. They were going to pump more through the end of November, meaning through the election, to keep the price of gasoline low.
Yes.
Because it was in their best interest to get President Obama reelected.
Well, this is fascinating. There's much more to tell on this story. Your book, again, is
Energy Freedom.
Energy Freedom.
You have a
and
website.
where can we get it?
It's available at Amazon. You can go to
Fantastic.
Amazon.com or our website, which is energymakesamericagreat.org.
And Marita's an Albuquerque person.
I
East
am.
Mountains.
I live in
actually.
the East Mountains. It was a little chilly this morning.
Great to see you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming in. We're excited to have you. Please come back, okay?
I'd be honored anytime.
Thank you.